Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm excited to be here with you all. My name's Lincoln Reaper, and I am your host. This is my brand new channel, first video ever, and I am stoked to be here with you. Won't go into a long introduction. This is a gaming channel. I'm sure you know what a gaming channel is all about if you're here. Real quick, I mostly play survival, building, crafting, multiplayer type games. That's why I chose Rend for my first video. It is fairly new. I believe it's went into early access 3 weeks ago. And I do play a lot of other games. MMORPGs, you name it, I've probably played it. So without further ado, let's jump into the first video. So I am picking a brand new server. It has, I believe, 5 times multipliers for everything. I think that's a better route to take for um, a video here. So let's jump right in. I'm picking Conclave because the other factions, I believe, had more people, and I like to run with the underdog. So let's let this load in. Also, I'd like to say if the audio is not up to par, I apologize. I am ordering a mic, an actual mic for recording. Right now I'm using my Logitech headset, so I apologize if there is any audio that does not work very well. I just really wanted to get my first video out to you all. So, if you're new to Rend, this is a team-based game. There are 3 factions. Conclave, green, which is the one I am in. Revenant, which is purple. And Order, which is orange. The map is a gigantic triangle. Each faction area is exactly the same, as to not give any perks to a certain faction. Starting out, there's a simple tutorial. We will run through it real quick, picking up a little bit of food so we don't have to worry about it off the start. Hearth Melon also gives you a little bit of thirst, and we have plenty. Let's go ahead and find some fiber. Now, if you haven't played this game before and you're jumping in, there are aggressive creatures around the starting area, though I believe in the last patch they made them, I think, less aggressive, or they made made it so there's not as many aggressive creatures in the starting area. These pigs right here, I believe they're grunts. I need to have a weapon. They are not aggressive. One of the few non-aggressive creatures in this game. Now, not all pigs are passive. That's either a rock or a pig that's going to try to eat me. Pretty much any of the pigs that have tusks are the ones you have to watch out for. So let's go ahead and get this raw fiber by right-clicking. Now, without a scythe, without a tool, I believe raw fiber is all you can get from these. Yes, that's correct. Right-clicking and left-clicking is raw fiber. Now, again, the multipliers are up. This is a private server, not an official server. So let's see. C brings up the crafting menu. Now, they did change this recently, I believe in the last patch as well. When you open the crafting menu, it brings you straight into the tree form of the menu. Now, while I do enjoy this for some aspects, like if you're going down a tree with bows and trying to unlock the next one, for some things, like right off the bat, your basic survival, I prefer to have it in this form because you can see everything and how it unlocks the next. So we'll throw 20 up there for now so that we can pop out, see if we can make the full set here. There we go. And we need some rough sticks. Now, rough sticks you can get by hitting. Now, I don't remember if you can hit these. No, it has to be the small skinny trees. like this one up here. So we can make our first tool, which is going to be the hatchet. So let's go ahead and craft that bad boy up. Again, there's a short tutorial as you go through. Sticky sap and roughwood logs. Now, the sticky sap I believe you can get by left or right clicking on the larger trees. The logs, however, you need to right click. So we'll right click to attempt to get a little bit of both. There we go. That should be enough for us to craft the mallet. Now the mallet is going to be good for breaking up stones. So we'll run across here, and it's always a good idea whenever you run across these little blue glowing spirits to go ahead and pick them up. You'll be turning them into your faction tree for spirit residue, which is a crafting component, but also for experience, and it's a pretty good amount of experience you get for turning in those spirits. I think we got enough flint. Let's get a little bit of crumble stone here. Now this server I believe has been online for 4 hours, so I don't know how far this faction will have got by now, but we are working our way up there. There's the pickaxe, there's the sickle. So now we have all 4 tools, and we need some more sticks so we can make a few bows. So we'll go up to one of these trees and left click. Get us a bunch of sticks, because we're going to need those sticks to make some arrows too. And we want to make a few. The first bow you normally make ends up being a flimsy bow. And this is part of the tutorial. The flimsy bow will break very quickly. So we'll go ahead and pop 2 simple bows out now that it's showed us that you can fail in crafting. We'll go into our inventory, get rid of that flimsy bow, and just pop that in there. So now let's go ahead and use all the sticks we have to make some arrows, and we are good to fight. So let's jump back into the crafting menu here. We need leather to make the roughhide water skin, though this water skin is fairly pointless unless they have fixed it. It leaks very quickly. You can see the leak right there, 0.1 per second, and it only holds 25. We do need some gold poppies so we can make some bandages. Let's pop out a campfire so it unlocks the cured meat, which when you cook up meat in a campfire, you can then use salt, which you get from the stones, and cure the meat, which will make it last longer in your inventory. So there's a pig right here. We'll go ahead, hit E to equip our weapon. You can hold E when you have multiple or different weapons in there. We have 2 simple bows, so it's regardless, it's going to be the same thing. And then you can hit R, hold R, and you can pick, because there are going to be different ammunition types, especially if you have 2 different weapons. Now there are critical hit zones on animals. The head is critical for pigs, so is the ass. Now I didn't hit any criticals there, but it'll show up as yellow, the damage, instead of white like you just saw. So now we'll go ahead, and I don't believe it matters which tool you use to harvest creatures with, but I tend to like using the hatchet. I don't know, it just seems more realistic, I guess. So if you right click, you'll get leather, in this case leather scraps, thin leather scraps. And if you left click, like we'll do with this gentleman, so there's a critical, we will left click and you'll get meat and parts. Now it's not always, there are some parts that come with right clicking. Coarse hair is one, so is, I believe, the rabbit fuzz. They look like rabbit tails, or rabbit feet, I guess, whatever you want to call those things. But for the most part, you think of anything that deals with leather, like fur, will be right click, and anything that is a meat part or like an organ or a hoof is going to be left click. So we got enough to make the water skin, so we'll just make one just to satisfy the tutorial. And then we do need enough to make the twine bound pouch. Now, because this is a private server and that's a high multiplier. Now, if you were on an official server or an unofficial server without any of these multipliers, this twine bound pouch is something you're going to be wanting to make fairly quickly. Let's go ahead and just make all those while we move along here. You do have decreased movement speed while you're handcrafting, but it looks like crafting is also turned up. And one thing I was going to mention is it does look like damage, PvE damage at least, is also turned up on this server. Normally you would not be doing this much damage right off the bat. 2 shots to kill these things. So we are going to need hooves. So I don't know how many we have picked up so far, if any. We have not picked up any. So we're going to need hooves, and that's going to come into play when we start upgrading the bows. Now we do need leather though, so we can make that twine bound pouch real quick. Oh, and we did need the gold poppies, which there should be some back here in this spawn area. Oh, there's a bunch right up here. And then we'll finish up getting that leather. And we have enough meat on us that we can make some better food when we get closer to base. So I am left clicking, which is going to produce whatever type of plant it is, and some of the plants will give you Vita Root. Vita Root is a temporary fix to boost your stamina. I guess boost is the wrong word. It regains some of your stamina. It does not make you have a higher stamina bar. Now, if you'll see down here, we have a couple debuffs. Bloody Backpack, and this is going to attract aggressive animals. And Rancid Stench. Now, I don't know what the Rancid Stench actually does, but I like to just get rid of it anyway. And let's make some bandages here. Oh, I think we need fiber, some raw fiber. We do. So now that we have the scythe, we can get these things a lot quicker. Tensile Vine's going to come in big. Off the bat, it's going to be used to make rope. We'll make 14. Let's clean out some of this stuff. You know what? Let's eat a bunch of this melon just to get it out and get our hunger and thirst bars up a little bit. And we're going to be dropping that campfire. I like putting Vita Root on 1 because I do use Vita Root a lot. We're not going to need hard resin right now. We'll just drop that, get some things out of our inventory. One thing I would like to point out though, these grunter pork bellies, you know what, maybe this isn't what I thought it was. So these are salvageable. And to be honest, oh okay, so it gives you things that contents of the pig's stomach. There are other things that you can pick up. I forget what they're called. They might be abdomens. I can't remember. But you can use them as temporary water skins to hold water. Now these grunters here are aggressive. They don't have a huge aggression range when you just run past them. And they're not too horribly hard to kill. Again, this server has increased PvE damage, so it's a lot easier for me to kill them here. Let's finish up getting some leather. We're going to need a lot of leather depending on how far this faction has gotten their base going. Initially, there are 4 faction buildings inside your faction shield up there, and you have to build them off the start. So, like I said, I believe we're 4 hours into this server, even though we have just joined. There was one person already on this faction, and chances are they have probably already gotten those 4 buildings set up. So let's go ahead and make the twine bound pouch. We'll make a crude torch because we'll probably be diving into a cave coming up here shortly to get some dross metal. And that's about it. You know what? Let's start heading now a little bit more quickly to the faction base. On the way, we're going to try to pick up some hooves. Like I said earlier, those are going to be used for making better bows. And that's going to be left clicking. tell you this increased PvE damage though, it makes a huge difference, especially when you start moving into like the swamp. The swamp is a it is a dangerous area if you are new to it and you're on a server where you do not have increased PvE damage. Everything in the swamp wants to kill you, wants to maim you, wants to eat you, wants to poison you, and it is a terrible place, but I do enjoy going there. So this is, I don't know what you want to call it, a mini boss. It is a named creature. This is Bertha. Bertha is a named warthog or boar, whatever you want to call it. They do tend to drop a little bit more in the sense of like meat and leather parts. Sometimes they drop different meat, like special meat. Wolves are definitely aggressive. They can be fairly annoying. Their first attack, at least these smaller prow fangs, is a lunge attack that you can normally dodge the first one. We don't need meat, but we're going to left click anyway because we're going to need the tendons, and we didn't get any, but we did get some trophies which are going to be used in, there is a bow recipe that uses it, and also to upgrade the Adventurer's Lodge. Let's continue moving up here and kill a few more. That guy looks a little glitched out. He's probably going to run away from me. Oh, alright. So let's see if we can get some hooves before we get up to the base. It doesn't seem like we're getting very lucky. Oh, okay. Didn't dodge that one. So now if you look at the bottom left, you can see we have deep wounds. Those are going to cause us to lose health over time. So that's why we made those bandages, which I was going to set up earlier and I forgot to. You click it, and you can't do any actions while you're doing this. You can't move, you can't hold Alt. Holding Alt is what makes or frees your cursor. And we got a lot of tendons out of that. That might even be enough to get past that bow tier when we get to it. Let's get rid of these hearth melons in our inventory there. There's a few boars here. Let's go for the aggressive one first. See if we can get some hooves. There we go. There's 13. Now, depending on... Oh, he got lucky. He got us a flesh wound there, too. Alright, so let's get a little more leather before we get up into the base. Some leather scraps. And then let's head up into the base. I know we're all excited to get into that big green glowy shield there. Oops, that's not what I want to do. I wanted leather. And this unlucky fella is just in the wrong place at the wrong time, so we'll go ahead and get him. Alright. Let's get rid of the rancid meat and a few other little things that... So, okay, here we go. Large bore bladder. This is what I was talking about earlier. It says it's watertight, but there is a decay timer on it, just so you know. But you can use that to hold water. We have way too much meat. It's going to, and we're not, now you can use this decaying meat, I thought it was called rotten meat, but maybe I'm thinking of Ark. You can use that, excuse me, in poisons and things. Now, I'm not going to get into that right now. This guy's quite glitched. So I'm not going to worry about keeping that meat on me. See if we can't get a few more tendons. Nope, we're just going to get it. Oh, there we go. And a ton of meat that we're just going to throw on the ground. We'll do a mixture here. There, we got tons of boar hooves on that guy. Alright. This is a spirit chest. As you can see, my cursor is grayed out because it is in the spirit world. The spirit world is just an overlay of this world where there are scary looking alien creatures that walk around that are all tall and lanky. I believe they're called the Lost. That is, the spirit world is how you tame creatures, but it's also how you pick up those spirit chests. There are mushrooms called other shrooms, I believe. You know what? I can't remember exactly what they're called. They're in the highlands, and you can only gather them at night. Oh, look, we got a buddy in here. And anyway, sorry, those mushrooms will allow you to go to the spirit world for um, 5 seconds, which is nice for those chests. So it looks like this guy's been hard at work in here, doing things. I don't know why he's laying out all these. He might be using them to later build more stories. You can build columns. This does have a type of structural integrity in this game where you can't just build a second story platform and go all the way across. It needs to have some sort of. Ooh, that's a little loud. Um, it does need some sort of structure to it. But this guy's got a lot of building going on. He's got some nice little towers around. Anyway, all right, let's jump into the Adventurers Hunter's Lodge, the Adventurers Workshop. So let's see what we got with the bows here. We're missing roughwood lumber. You know what? Before we do that, there is fall damage, but I don't believe you take any damage if you fall inside your shield. I could be just making that up, but I don't think that I've ever received fall damage in the shield. Let's get some logs and we'll handcraft some lumber, some roughwood lumber. Oh, and I keep getting sidetracked. There's so many things to do in this game, and I've played it quite a few times. I played it in alpha for a bit, and when it launched 3 weeks ago, I played quite a bit for a few days. The problem that I've come across is it's difficult. There's a lot of balancing issues, I feel, which isn't entirely the game's fault. It's difficult when you have 3 factions, 20 players on each. It's difficult to get a server where people are going to spread out. Like myself, I like to go ahead and go on a team that has the least amount of people. But I guarantee a lot of people like to join the faction that has a lot of people in it already. The pro to that being you have a lot more people to do research. This is a team-based game, so the more people you have out there farming resources and getting sparks for research, the faster your research is going to go. Now on private servers like this, obviously a lot of the private servers have the increased research multiplier. I don't know why I just had an inflection in my voice there, but because it seems like for at least the present, the official servers are way more populated than the unofficial. And that makes sense because a lot of people want to get the vanilla aspect, not having all these multipliers. The private servers need the multipliers. I wouldn't say need, but like to have the multipliers because they're less populated, like I said. So, you know what, let's just dump whatever we have. I know we don't have a lot. Not even enough for anything there. Personal saw, I'd rather go for armor, but you know what, like I said, this is a low pop server, so. Oh my word. Spirit Stables is done. I haven't played too much with repeaters. I'm a fan of the bow. Repeaters are pretty cool. They're almost like automatic weapons. Potions are good to have, the droughts especially when you get down further. You know what? I don't have many. We'll dump them in. We'll dump them in potions. Okay. I missed invention, but I don't know that I have any invention points to dump in there. No, I do. I can do one. There we go. All right. So now that we have some lumber created, let's dive back in here. So now this is what I'm talking about when it's nice to have the tree form, because in personal crafting you have to progress down the tiers of bows. And that's shown by the yellow outline to these icons. So this is why we got the boar hooves. And then the next one's going to take the tendons. And now again, there's a multiplier here, so it's not taking very many crafts to unlock the next one. Let's go ahead and just throw all those in there. While we wait for that, we're not going to need any more of these bows because we're going to be moving to the next ones here pretty quick. We don't need the resin. For now, we're going to dump the rotten fruit. The rotten fruit is used in a cooking recipe for, I believe it's rotten fruit soup. It doesn't give you much hunger back, which we are getting a little low on. But the nice thing about those, I do like to every once in a while keep a stack on me in the beginning. Because it not only gives you hunger, but it gives you back some thirst, which is nice, until you get the better water skins. Let's see, let's just clean it up a little bit here. See if we can get a little further. All right, thin leather. Now we should have a bunch of scraps. Can't make many. I believe it takes 10. Yeah, it takes 10. So it takes a lot of scraps to make thin leather. So we're only gonna be able to make one more, but that's all right. We got some much better bows. There is a plus superior. That's gonna be our main bow, and we'll just toss the next best one on there and dump the rest. More rotten meat. We should, before we head back out. Let's plop down. Now, you used to be able to put these campfires wherever you wanted. I think you can put them inside the faction shield, but I think now you have to. Also, if you're going to put it outside, I think you have to be a decent distance away. It comes with 2 logs already in it. We can also dump the branches in there just for the fun of it. And let's just dump some meat, turn it on. I believe their research for advanced, no, it was not. So ammo alternatives will be a good research to do. While we're waiting for that meat, do we have, how many arrows we got left? 67, not bad, okay. And now we're one-shotting. Again, if you're on a server without multipliers, you are not going to be one-shotting with this bow. You will be doing a lot more damage, but you will not be one-shotting creatures. All right. Well, we are getting up to the 30-minute mark here, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Let's pick up some meat, and I think we have some salt that we can cure. If you are in an inventory screen like this, if you hover over an icon, you can press T. That is the default hotkey to move it. It does seem to glitch a little bit sometimes. You'll go to hit T on something and it won't move it over, or it'll move something completely different over. I don't know if that's something they've fixed. That used to be an issue though. Let's go ahead and cure this meat, and it's going to drop it right into our hotbar. Anything that you can use from the hotbar is going to automatically go to the hotbar if there is an open slot. See, I like to do the bows first because it makes harvesting leather a lot faster because you can kill things a lot faster, obviously. And one thing I have not done yet, which I should have been doing, and I think I'll make that our last little jaunt here, is I should have been putting all these points. Now you get points every time your character levels up, and then you also get skill points when you hit certain tiers of leveling up your other skills. Like if you look up in the top left when I start hitting this guy, that's butchery skill. I got it to 5. Level 5 is the first milestone where you can pick one of 2 perks. So let's chop this guy up, go pick up whatever meat has cooked. And I think we will call it. Oh, and then I'll put some points in so you can see how that all works for you. Let's take that meat. We'll cure it real quick as we walk into the safety of our beautiful green faction shield. And let's go ahead and jump into skills. We'll go into skills first. Here are all your skills. Like I said, level 5 is the first one where you can actually go ahead and pick between 2. I've never known meat to be a very difficult thing to get, so I always go for the leather. There's many perks to this. So at first you're going to get the 2% movement speed, which is great. And you're also going to get harvest additional leather. Now this can come in leather scraps, getting additional leather scraps, but the nice part is it can also come in the form of getting actual thin leather, especially from these creatures in the starting area. So I always like to go with that, and you got to double click that there. Maximum energy of 10 can be nice, but I just think the perks of Practice Skinner are much better. Now, the only other one we got 5 or higher in is bows, and we will do draw speed. Again, having an additional 10 stamina is nice, but especially if you're on a server with multipliers, you're going to get a lot of Vita Root, and those are easy to spam to get your stamina back up. And now we'll hop into talents. You got 2 talents, and there's 4 talents to choose from. On these low pop servers, I like to do Pathfinder as my first one. And now this isn't picked yet. This isn't set in stone until I actually pick a perk in here. Since there's an experience multiplier on this server, I'm not going to go with experience in action right off the bat. If I was on an official server, I probably would go with this. I'm going to go with Marathon Runner. Now, when you go to pick one, this is where you're going to actually permanently choose that archetype. So we are now Pathfinder. I'm going to dump all 5 into there, and then I'm going to pick my second one. I haven't played around too much with Warlord or Shaman. Shamans are nice for taming. They can go into the spirit world easier. I believe they even have perks to move faster in the spirit world. And they also have perks to collecting resources at night. I like Assassin because, again, I like to use the bows, even though I believe a lot of these perks are good for any of the ranged weapons, which are the only type of weapons in the game right now, though they are, I believe, going to add in melee weapons. We're going to go ahead and do increase range, 2 in that one. Increasing movement speed, I do like having that, especially for PvP. We'll drop 1 more in there to open up this next tier. You know what? I never really noticed that there is a butchery, an increase to your butchery yields. Let's go ahead and plop 1 in there to give that a whirl. In here, we got 1. And I think we're going to drop it into Trailblazing. That's another movement speed buff that you can get if you hit the same target 3 times in a row. Now, it's going to be difficult to do that in the starting area here because of again, the PvE damage increase. Not many things in here we're going to be able to hit 3 times because they'll probably be dead by then. But that's twofold because we don't really have to run from anything back here. They're not all that hard to kill. When we do start to get to some more difficult creatures, that will come into effect. Let's quickly take that out there. We only have enough salt to make 1. Let's eat because we are getting dangerously low. Let's go ahead and take a drink of water, and then we're going to wrap it up there. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Again, this is my first video recording ever. My YouTube channel is brand new. So if you liked what you saw, go ahead and subscribe, hit that like button, and leave a comment, guys. You know, I'm a new streamer, new YouTube gamer, uploader person thing. So your guys' feedback is really what's going to make this happen. It's going to be what's going to let me know what I need to do differently and what you guys like. Also, let me know what kind of games you want to see. I'm big into the survival, open world, crafting games, but again, I'm down to jump into just about whatever. So yeah, I guess one last thing before we say goodbye. This is your faction tree. If you look down here in the lower left-hand corner, this is where your spirits are that we've been gathering at night, those little blue glowy things. You come up here, you hit F, it drops them in there, gives you experience, gives you faction rep, and gives you these nice little spirit residues. So that's all for today, guys. Again, please leave some comments, and if the audio is subpar, I apologize, and that will be fixed very, very soon. I ordered a Blue Yeti, so we will be in action here shortly with some better audio setup. So again, thanks for joining. My name's Lincoln Reaper, and I hope to see you back here again.